Could you envision a world, sir, where there is a Trump-DeSantis ticket in 2024?
Well, I get along with him. I was very responsible for his success because I endorsed him and he went up like a rocket ship, just like I endorsed Mary Miller the other day, who supposedly was not going to win and she won.
She won.
Just like Darren Bailey is doing great. He just won.
Yep. You know the numbers are from the latest poll. This is from the AP NORC poll that shows that 85% of U.S. adults say the country is on the wrong track. 85%. That's up from 68% in March. 28% of Americans approve of the president's job performance, specifically on the economy. You have made it clear that the president gets it, but it appears that increasingly the American people do not approve of what this White House is doing. What's your reaction to the assessment of the job the president's doing?
Look, these are uncertain times, and when prices are high, people are understandably frustrated when they're pulling up at the gas pump, and that's understandable. And at the same time, it is our job, and it's the president's firm conviction that what he can do as president is to take every responsible action that he has. And we have, and also remind the American people that even as we go through this challenging period, even as we move through this transition, we also have made historic economic progress. And that's not to suggest that people shouldn't feel the anxiety that they feel. Of course, they do.
At a time of record inflation, and as new polling this week shows that 85% of the U.S. public thinks the country is going in the wrong direction. How do you explain this to those people who feel the country is going in the wrong direction, including some of the leaders you've been meeting with this week, who think that when you put all of this together, it amounts to an America that is going backward?
They do not think that. You haven't found one person, one world leader to say America's going backwards. America's better positioned to lead the world than we ever have been. We have the strongest economy in the world. Our inflation rates are lower than other nations in the world, but inflation is higher in almost every other country. Prices at the pump are higher in almost every other country. We're better positioned to deal with this than anyone, but we have a way to go.
When the president got into those questions, gas prices and inflation, and there was a lot less of that certainty, a lot less of that emphatic nature of his initial presentation on NATO, because he doesn't have great answers.
I personally believe that Clarence Thomas should be impeached beyond a shadow of a doubt. I am astonished that this is a position that is in any way controversial to anyone. The degree and extent of misconduct that Clarence Thomas alone, in addition to several of his colleagues, have participated and engaged in, is foundationally delegitimizing to the Supreme Court. And it is our responsibility, our constitutional duty, to rein them in. I will say, on a policy response, we need to be working on repealing the Hyde Amendment in Congress right now. I am proud to say that we have successfully started to take the steps to repeal the Hyde Amendment. And with the Hyde Amendment, repealing the Hyde Amendment will allow the federal government to invest in access to reproductive care in any place that has federal jurisdiction, including places with federal jurisdiction in red states. There are workarounds around this. We can start exploring this now. We can start working on what the scaffolding and the details of this would look like now. And the actual deep investment would be allowed if we repealed the Hyde Amendment. I believe that the president should come out in favor, forcefully in favor of expanding the Supreme Court. I believe that the president should forcefully come out in favor of abolishing the Senate filibuster. Those two actions dramatically increase political pressure and makes it much harder to resist.
The most important thing to be clear about is we have to change. I believe we have to codify Roe v. Wade in the law. And the way to do that is to make sure the Congress votes to do that. And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be, we provide an exception for this, require an exception to the filibuster for this action to deal with the Supreme Court decision.
Mr. President, well, you just made some news saying you would support changing the filibuster rules to codify.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ketanji Brown Jackson, do solemnly swear.
I, Ketanji Brown Jackson, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much, and now I'll turn things over to Justice Breyer.
The judicial oath, will you raise your right hand, please? Thank you. I, Ketanji Brown Jackson,
I, Ketanji Brown Jackson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will administer justice
that I will administer justice
without respect to persons
without respect to persons
and do equal right
and do equal right
to the poor and to the rich,
to the poor and to the rich,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States.
As an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Under the Constitution.
Under the Constitution.
And laws of the United States.
And laws of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
That's why this election is so critical, so important. DeSantis is wrong and I'm right. I stand with women. I will protect them. I'll do everything in my power as your governor, as I have already in the past. I will veto any anti-abortion legislation.